Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and it's time for the Game Week 11 tier list video where I'm going to be giving my initial thoughts on some of the transfer trends that are going on right now, guys. So if you do enjoy this one, please do leave a like, please do subscribe if you're new around here, but I think we just get straight on with the content today. Alright guys, so I've got on screen for you guys 20 of the most popular players being transferred in this game week, and I wanted to clear this up because a few people still, I still get a few comments on each video I make. The 20 players that you see on screen right now at the bottom that are yet to be placed, they are literally just the most popular 20 transfers in the world of FPL at time of recording. So if a player isn't on this list, it doesn't mean that I don't rate them, it doesn't mean that I hate them, it doesn't mean that I love them either. It just means that they're at the time of recording, they are not in the top 20 most popular transfers in. So apologies, we could have a million players on here, I'm sure, if we wanted to, but that would be quite a long video, wouldn't it? So I thought it'd be fair, just 20 top players. I won't keep going on about it. Anyway, guys, so yeah, they're ranked here from the least popular to the most popular, and we're going to put them all on the list, starting with Kane, the least popular, 20th most popular, I guess, into 5 categories: must-buys, great transfers, optionals, bad transfers, and avoids. Let's start. So I'm going to start you off with Harry Kane, who I am actually going to put in a great transfer. I think he's still, I still believe that he's probably the second best premium to have after Haaland. I think another goal at the weekend is probably like lending to that a little bit. He's got some decent-ish fixtures coming up next. We've got obviously Everton next. It's a fixture that Harry Kane does very well in typically. Similar, like, he does well against Leicester, he does well against Arsenal. Everton are another one of those teams where he always seems to do well, one of his favourite places to play. So we are going to be putting him in great transfer because I still think he's pretty good. 11.4 million. Yes, it's premium, but it's not like super duper expensive. He's not as expensive as the likes of Salah or KDB or Son even. So I think he's actually pretty decent for what he offers. And game week 12, he plays against Manchester United. Maybe you could consider captaining him in that game potentially. I don't mind it. And you know what? Everton conceded a couple of games against Manchester United. I don't think although their goals conceded record has been quite good this season, I think they have maybe overperformed a little bit on that. So I think there are goals to be had against Everton. Not like a crazy amount, but a decent amount anyway. Lloris, I'm going to put in bad transfer. Seems a little bit crazy to be transferring in 5.5 million goalkeepers. We've all gone to the opinion of, let's not spend too much on the defence because there's too many goals going on in the Premier League right now. There's not really enough clean sheets to go round. I know Lloris kept a clean sheet at the weekend, but at the same time, 5.5 million is super expensive. He's got Manchester United in a couple of game weeks' time. I don't like it. I don't like it. Spurs do have some tough-ish fixtures. I think they could concede some goals over the coming game weeks. So I don't think I would ever want to spend that much money on a goalkeeper who typically doesn't get crazy scores. He doesn't really get a lot of save points necessarily. Doesn't really get bonus points. Lloris doesn't typically get a lot of points at the best of times. It's just way too expensive. So no, bad transfer, I think. Almost an avoid, but not quite. Zaha, I'm going to put him in as, I think I'm going to put him in pretty high. I kind of like him a lot, to be fair. Am I saying he's a must-buy? No, but I don't think I've actually got any must-buys this game week, if I'm honest. Probably not anyway. But I do think he is still a great transfer because he's got some great fixtures coming up still. Leicester is the next fixture, and we've seen again that Leicester just concede so many chances and so many goals, and that's just going to keep happening over and over again. And any attacker that plays against Leicester is really going to have real opportunities to score some decent amount of FPL points. So Zaha is going to be in there. He's on penalties, he is creative, he's taking shots on, he's looking good, he is the kind of talisman of the Crystal Palace team. He always has the most chances to score out of any of the Crystal Palace players. Makes sense. If you're going to go for a Crystal Palace attacker, Zaha has to be the one really, super nailed on as well. Is always very, very helpful. We're going to put Gabriel Jesus in. I don't know if I want to put him in a void or bad transfer, but he's certainly, he'd certainly be very low down on the list in terms of forwards. There are some decent forward options around at the moment that you can go for that actually have a fixture in game week 12. So what you'd really be doing was you'd be spending 8 million on a player. I'm going to put him in a void. 8 million on a player who plays Leeds this game week, which is a fairly decent fixture, but then blanks, so you'd have to transfer him back out again. Like, fair enough, if you already have Jesus, keep him, but you're really going to bring him in and then take him back out again. Like, quite an expensive player. You can't really bench that kind of player, especially if you've got Haalands and Cancelos and whoever else who you're probably going to bench in game week 12. You're going to have to use 2 transfers on Jesus, and I don't think he's worth it. I really don't think he's worth it. Yeah, just seems like a really bad transfer and a void for me. The fact that you have to take him in and then back out again, and it's only a game against Leeds, and I don't even know that he's even good value for money compared to some of the other players from Arsenal who could potentially get you attacking points, like Martinelli, for example. Tony, I think, is optional still. He's certainly less desirable than he has been in the past, but I guess he's still optional in a way. On penalties, scores a decent amount of goals, or has scored a decent amount of goals this season. Maybe not at the absolute pinnacle of his goal-scoring prowess at the moment. But he did score at the weekend. Penalty or no penalty, he still scored. So maybe that is going to give him a little bit of boost of confidence to get Brentford back up and going again. Fixtures are okay for Brentford as well. Bruno G, I guess he's optional. I don't know if he's like a good transfer or optional. I like Bruno G. Whenever he's playing in the more free attacking role, I really do like him. And I think hopefully he's going to be getting that opportunity to play in a slightly more attacking role now. Obviously got an assist in Game Week 9 and then, you know, loads of points in Game Week 10 as well. He's looking better and better. Newcastle are looking better and better. They're looking like a really strong team at the moment. I really do rate the Newcastle attack in general, to be fair. I think Bruno is going to be a big part of that. He is, in a way, the talisman of that team. He's not as attacking player as someone like Zaha, who's the talisman of Crystal Palace, but he's still pretty attacking. He's kind of like a bit of an attacking midfielder slash box-to-box midfielder, but everything kind of goes through him, or a lot of the Newcastle build-up goes through him when he's fit and available, and especially when he has that slightly freer role. Radford, I don't really rate the transfer that much. I think you could get him. Would I get him? I don't know. I'm not fully convinced by this one. Do I want to say it's a bad transfer? I wonder if there's going to be a bit of rotation here as well among the Manchester United team. Obviously, Rashford's blanked again. It's difficult. I'm not sure I really like the Rashford transfer. I guess he's optional, but he wouldn't be high up on the priority list, would he? De Bruyne, difficult one. I think he has to be a bad transfer. Obviously, I think he's a better transfer than Jesus, just because... or is he? Yeah, he is a slightly better transfer than Jesus, because I feel like he's like a higher profile player who gets more points more consistently over very long periods of time. We know that Liverpool, who City play next, are conceding a ridiculous amount of chances and goals at the moment. They really are. The defence is in shambles at Liverpool right now. It really is. And you'd expect a team like Manchester City to go there and really punish them. And De Bruyne could genuinely make up for the -4 you have to take to get him back out again. It's genuinely really possible that he can make up for that. But at the same time, you are still going to have to take him out again, probably. So I think he's going to have to go down as a banned transfer. Another reason I don't really like De Bruyne is the fact that if you have De Bruyne and you have Haaland, then that's pretty much all of your premium money spent in a way, which means you're not going to have a premium captain for Game Week 12. You're not going to have any premium players, in fact, for Game Week 12. So that's going to be a bit of a problem for you, potentially. So I still think it's a bad transfer, but I think I prefer it slightly to Jesus. We've got Eric Dyer, who I think is, again, a bad transfer. Too much money to spend on a Spurs defender who has some difficult fixtures coming up. I do prefer him to Lloris because he offers probably about the same points potential as Lloris, but is 0.4 million cheaper. So there is that. But still, I still feel like if you're going to go for a defender right now, we probably want to be looking at 4.5 million defenders. Crystal Palace defenders are top of the priority list, I'd say, right now. And maybe that's the kind of place you want to look. I don't think Eric Dyer is an absolute avoid, but a little bit too much money for what he offers, which is basically just clean sheets pretty much for Spurs with some difficult fixtures coming up. Don't like it. Don't really like it. Reece James, I think, is a great transfer. I know he only got that horrible 1 point in last game week, but I actually still think he's a really good transfer. A player I'd really like to have. In fact, I'm actually going to put him... I don't want to put him in must-buy because I think it's going to be difficult to make that argument after he just got rotated. And by the way, he only got rotated because he had a minor injury that he was just about recovering from, you know, just a couple of days turnaround between the previous game against AC Milan to the weekend fixture, and he had, I think it was a dead leg, and he just wasn't quite ready to play a full 90 minutes. So I'm hoping he's going to be back fully ready by the weekend. He should be. He's probably going to be ready for the midweek against AC Milan again anyway. So yeah, I think James will be more than back. I think it was a kind of an anomaly in a way to see Reece James relegated to the bench in Game Week 10. I think he's going to be back in 11. I think he's going to be back to his best, scoring goals, goals, getting some clean sheets. You know, Chelsea keeping clean sheets. They're off to a start of keeping clean sheets, which is really, really good to see as well. I do think that Chelsea defenders, Chelsea players in general, may have to start factoring into conversation a little bit more. I think we need to be talking a little bit more about going for Chelsea players. And Reece James is still, for me, the #1 Chelsea, you know, target to get into your FPL team. Saka, I'm going to put him in a void. He's too expensive. He's too expensive. I mean, maybe I should put De Bruyne in there. But like I say, De Bruyne has that premium Manchester City star quality. Maybe I'm being too harsh on Arsenal, considering they're top of the league. But Saka goes in the same category as your Jesus, I'm afraid. Expensive. You're going to have to take him back out again in game week 12. Is it really worth spending 2 transfers on having a Saka or having a Jesus for just 1 game week? I don't think so. I don't think so, really. Almiron is a cheap, decent player in some good form and some good confidence who has proven it in the MLS, but he seems to be capturing his MLS form, you know, so he's doing really well. I think he's actually a decent, very decent option for his price. If you really are, you know, desperate for that really cheap midfielder right now, who else, you know, who's better to go for than Miggy Almiron right now? He's in great form. He's looking good. He's probably pretty nailed on as well, as he's like that one, I guess, attacker among the Newcastle front 3 who is capable of, you know, pressing and you know, putting that energy into the game. I think that he is going to be pretty much nailed on even when Isak returns, to be fair. So Almiron, I'm actually kind of like this as an option. As long as you are not expecting him to consistently score crazy points every single game week, I don't think that's going to happen. Expect him to blank, you know, a decent amount of game weeks as well. But look, if you're looking for that cheap enabler, you really want to spend your money elsewhere, why not? Why not? You know, you can't do much better than Almiron for 5.1 million. Maddison, I feel like the ship has slightly sailed, but I guess he's still optional. I feel like if the time to get Maddison, I did say this last week as well, the time to get Maddison was game week 9. Game week 10, probably slightly too late. Game week 11, it's kind of like maybe we need to be looking towards new players, but at the same time, he is still a decent option, very decent option, but can we try and find the next big thing instead? That's probably what I'd be looking to do if I was a non-Maddison owner right now. If you have him, obviously keep him. But if you don't have him, I mean, I say that. You could potentially sell him. Like, I'm not completely against selling Maddison, if I'm completely honest. But I probably won't be too quick to recommend that. Let's see how he does against Crystal Palace. I don't think it's a super easy fixture, but I don't think Maddison is a must-have for this game week by any stretch of the imagination. Saliba is too expensive. He's now 5 million. Right, here's a fact about Saliba. I don't mind him as much as Saka and Jesus, just because he is more benchable than those 2 players. And I think Arsenal, yeah, I think there is going to be a place for Saliba at some point. But Saliba, in the last 5 game weeks, 4 out of those 5 game weeks, he has got either 0 points or 1 point. And yet every single game week, he is one of the most popular transfers in. Do you know why? Because he is, you know, people just click on defenders, list them by highest scoring defenders across the season, and then just click on the player who's at the top that's within their budget. And more often than not, that's going to be Saliba. So it's the kind of transfer that people seem to be continually making every single game week without thinking about anything else. Nobody has given me a good logical reason as why they're bringing in Saliba. At least this game week, it's actually a decent fixture where there's a potential for a clean sheet against Leeds. But again, same with the other Arsenal players, same as the other Man City players. He can't play in game week 12. 5 million is a lot. For a defender, 5 million is a decent amount to bench. I don't think it's an incredible amount to bench. I don't think it's a huge amount of value to bench. But really, we're gonna probably be looking in the defensive slots, particularly, to find a player who is actually playing in game week 12, so we can more easily bench the likes of, you know, Haaland, Martinelli, Cancelo, De Bruyne, Foden, whoever you've got right now. If you're bringing in a new player, you're probably trying to look to cover game week 12 rather than, you know, bringing another player that blanks. And the defensive players are the really good positions where you can get someone really cheap to cover for that game week and then bench them in future game weeks. You know, like a Mark Gahey or, you know, a Tyrone Mings or someone like that. Those are the kind of players I'd be looking at, really, if we're looking for defenders right now to bring in. So Saliba, another rejection from me, unfortunately. There will be a time and a place to bring Saliba in. It's just not now for me. Anthony, I think it is optional, I guess. I mean, he's in good form. That's back-to-back goals, like, baby. He's looking good. He's looking like a real good player. Improving as well, which is good. Let's put him in optional. I don't think it's a must-have or anything. I still think Man United's fixtures are pretty bad. They probably have, you would say, one of the worst runs of fixtures of any Premier League team right now. upcoming, but they're performing well. They're in some really good, they are really refound their form this season, haven't they? So I think he's optional, but I don't know. Let's put him like here. I think I still prefer Maddison, probably. I think Maddison has slightly better fixtures, slightly better form, and is more talismanic. Talisman is like the word of the video today, right? Or so it seems. So yeah, let's stick him there. Martinelli, let's put him in. No, we're going to put him pretty low again. I think if you have Martinelli, you keep him. Maybe transfer him out next game week. Maybe keep him next game week. That's kind of up to you, particularly if you bought him really cheap. But would I be buying Martinelli right now? No. I think it's a bad transfer. I think it's a better transfer than some of these others because Martinelli is a significantly cheaper. Like 6.6 million for a midfielder is cheap. Is very cheap. And considering he's scoring, you know, in general, he's scoring more than the likes of Jesus and Saka and Saliba. He's outscoring all of these players and he's cheaper than these players with the exception of Saliba, obviously different position. But, you know, he's cheaper than Saka, he's cheaper than Jesus and he's outscoring them. And he's more benchable and there aren't really too many options in the same price bracket, whereas Saka, Jesus, there's loads of other like 8 million forwards or, you know, 7 to 8 million forwards you can go for. There's loads of other 8 million-ish midfielders you can go for. With Martinelli, his price point is a little bit more tricky, sticky, so you might really not have much of a choice. But still a bad transfer, still not a great time to bring in Martinelli, in my opinion, just for the sake of one game week. I think he can wait a couple of weeks. I don't think he's going to score anything nuclear against Leeds. Yes, he is getting returns pretty well. You know, a goal or an assist, or a goal and an assist would be a bit of a stretch, but very possible for Martinelli in this Leeds fixture. But, you know, I think you can find someone else who's going to score better than Martinelli over the course of 2 game weeks, especially when you consider transfers in and out and in and out. You don't want to be messing around with that. It's waste of time, waste of transfers, and just complicates your FPL game unnecessarily. Now, Trossard, I like. I'm going to put him pretty high. I'm going to put him above Kane, actually. And, you know, in that Martinelli price bracket, we do actually have Trossard, similar price there, who has some good fixtures coming up and is nailed on and is not blanking in Game Week 12 and is playing in a very attacking role now, which is good. He's not playing as a wing-back anymore. He's playing behind the striker. We love it. There's lots to love, and he's taken on, you know, insane amount of shots this season. He really is. I don't know. He seems to be coming so far this season. Like, we know what he can do. We know he's a magical player, and in certain spells of form, he does so well. He's playing in this really attacking team. He's the difficult fixtures of Spurs and Liverpool. I say difficult, you know, are behind him now. And Brighton, a team that is still very high in the table, still is hopefully going to go on a really good run under the new management of De Zerbi. So, I believe he is deserving of a chance. So, Trossard, I actually really like as a pick. I think you could go for him. Trippier, I don't like. I don't like it. Bad fixtures. I don't think there's going to be too many. Next 3 games, what is it? We've got Spurs and Manchester United in the next 3 for Manchester, for Newcastle United. Are you getting clean sheets in those fixtures? Almost certainly not. I mean, I think Newcastle have kept just 1 clean sheet in 7 Premier League games, I believe. So clean sheets aren't coming at the best of times. Attacking returns, there is potential for that. But for 5.6 million, unless you already have Trippier, if you already have Trippier, fine. Like, you know, that's, you know, he's fine. You know, you keep him. But if you don't already have him, you're spending 5.6 million for maybe an assist every few games over this next period of time. It's so much money. We really do need to reevaluate where we're spending our money, and it ain't going to be on defenders, and it ain't going to be on 5.6 million defenders who have a terrible runs of fixtures and whose underlying stats are not amazing. They're decent, but you know, you want those for 5.6 million. You want to have those clean sheets alongside it. You really do. Otherwise, you may as well go for, you know, a more attacking fullback in a better defence, like, you know, the Chelsea defence, for example. You may as well go for that. They're the same price at this point. It really is mad. So we're going to put Trippier in. I think I'm going to have to put him in bad transfer. I think I am. If you already have him, fine. But I think this is a bad time to bring him in. And that's what this is all about. Cancelo and Foden, finally, the Man City boys, I suppose. Let's put Cancelo in. I don't know. I think it's a bad transfer again. I think Cancelo's a bad transfer. I think he has to go in with the other Arsenal and the Man City players for that exact reason. Also, next fixture is against Liverpool, and I'm actually going to put him in straight up avoid. If we're looking for clean sheets in a Liverpool game, it's not very likely. You can say, oh, Liverpool have been terrible, blah, 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 blah. I understand that, but Liverpool have also been scoring goals very consistently. They've been doing absolutely fine in terms of scoring goals. They just can't keep clean sheets. So, Cancelo, for 7.3 million, you really do need a clean sheet. And Cancelo is very unlikely to get a clean sheet in the next two because he's playing against the best attack, well, one of the best attacks in the league, right? And then he blanks. So, clean sheet points are not going to happen over the next two game weeks. And then after that, maybe. But for now, why not just wait a couple of weeks before getting in Cancelo? It seems like, you know, a knee-jerk, a reactionary. He scored a good score in game week 10, so let's buy him for game week 11. FPL is not that simple, unfortunately, and that's why you're watching videos like this, because, you know, you enjoy the more complex elements of FPL. And finally, Foden. He's the one player from Man City and Arsenal that I actually think is optional. I'm going to put him really low optional. I really wish... He's the one player I really wish I had right now. I did think about getting him, but obviously not strongly enough because he's not in my FPL team. At least I got some other decent players, but it would have been nice to have Foden. But... yeah, I'm not... Could he do well against Liverpool? He really could. He really could. He could make it worth transferring him in and out. I really, truly believe that. Him and Haaland right now seem to be the best attackers to own in the whole of FPL right now. They really do. Oh, Foden is really good. He's nailed on at the moment. He's taking loads of shots on. He's so involved. I like him. But you'd be transferring him in for a good game against Liverpool, where I do think Man City will score goals. And then the game after that, he blanks. So what do? Do you transfer him back out? Do you keep him on the bench and just roll with a pretty weak team? I mean, maybe that's an option. I know a lot of you guys in the comments are going to be saying, oh, well, I'm just going to free hit in game week 12 anyway. I would advise against that. I would really save the free hit for a future game week. I really, really would. We're going to have loads of double game weeks and blank game weeks in 2023. And you're going to want to have all of your chips intact for those insane game weeks where so many points will be available, far more than covering this blank. In my opinion, anyway. So I wouldn't recommend that. So, I guess Foden is the only optional player. I mean, other than Haaland, I would still have Haaland no matter what. I still think he's a must-buy. You know, even in a blank, you want to own Haaland and start him and captain him and all that good stuff. So, yeah, that's going to be it. I'm going to leave Foden there, and that's going to be the tier list. No must-buys today. A lot of players in bad transfer and avoids. I know, pretty wild, but that's what happens when we have blank game weeks, I suppose. But there we go, guys. Those are the players. If you've got any other players that aren't on this list that you want me to talk about, do leave a comment in the comment section, and I will try and say where I would personally put them in the tier list, I suppose. And if you've got any other opinions about where I've put these players in the tier list, I'm always really interested to hear other perspectives and you guys' point of view of where you think I've gone wrong, or even where I've gone right. All comments are very much appreciated. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm sorry this was a bit of a long one. I just like talking about FPL. I can't help it. Please do like the video. It really does help out the channel so much. Do subscribe if you haven't done it already. We're going to do a strategy stream after the Aston Villa game tonight. So, yeah, hopefully see a few of you guys there at like 10 PM UK time. Yeah, that's going to be pretty much it from me today. So, yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching. And I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.